What's going on, everyone? My name is Twig, and today we are covering Abathor, a 2D arcade action platformer that was released less than a week ago. And right off the bat, I'm going to say that I really enjoyed this game. I put about 30 hours or so into it over multiple playthroughs on all difficulties in order to get all achievements to perfect it. To get my intro stuff out of the way, I do want to mention that I review games after 100% here on this YouTube channel in video format and post my written reviews on Steam. So if you're a PC gamer, feel free to add me on there or join my Steam group. Both will be linked down below in the description. I've really been enjoying making review format videos. For the past 2 years, I've been just writing my reviews, and starting earlier this year, it's been a journey learning the ins and outs on structuring and editing these. In this video, we'll talk about the gameplay, the story, performance, and I'll give my thoughts and break down some of the achievements in this video. And I will try not to spoil anything story related, but I will be showing some gameplay from the tail end of the game. Just be mindful of that. Without further ado, let's hop right into this one. Abathor pays homage to the 80s and 90s, being inspired by movies, video games, and fantasy literature from that time period. As you play through the game, you can see influence from other gaming titles and pop culture during that time, such as the main character being based off of Conan the Barbarian. The lore, setting, and names of the characters of Abathor draw inspiration from Greek mythology, in particular Atlantis and Plato's writings. The devs, brothers David and Javier Guerre, did heavy research in tying names of people and monsters to those writings to help create this fluid, mythical tale. The game is set in Atlantis, where the Atlanteans ruled the oceans and have achieved the greatest empire ever seen under the guidance of their gods. They harnessed unforeseen technology, but were not satisfied with their success and domination over the world. They sought a special source of energy found only beyond the gates of Abathor. Demons, confined for eons, lie beyond the gate, and they longed to see the light of the sun and were thirsty for destruction. After opening the gates, they set on a path of destruction to annihilate everything in their path, spreading death and havoc. The Atlanteans miscalculated the thousands of demons and became outnumbered and overrun. As hope faded, 4 heroes emerged from the horizon with the determination to restrain the dark forces and shut the gates of Abathor. You start off the game by selecting your difficulty, adventure mode or heroic mode. You can see the main difference between them is the number of credits that you start out with. This game works similar to the old arcade games in a way where your lives are determined by how many credits you have left. Except, thankfully, in this game, when you run out of credits, it doesn't take you all the way back to the beginning, but just to the start of the stage that you are on. Before we talk about stages, I do want to mention the third difficulty option that you see with the others called Bravery Mode, but you can't access it until you beat the game on medium difficulty, which is heroic mode. Easy difficulty is there to help you get through the game without having to replay a lot of levels, and it gets you familiar with the game mechanics and enemies. Medium difficulty is obviously harder because you only start with 5 lives, but difficulty starts increasing as you progress later in the game towards the later stages. After you unlock Bravery Mode, aka Hard Mode, the difficulty becomes apparent, with the timing of enemies being slightly different, there being more of them in tight spaces, and the speed of their attacks being sped up. It's good that you have to play through the game on the lower difficulties first, because you really have to know the stages in order to plan and make it through. The main difference with Bravery Mode is a special second phase to a late game boss, as well as an extra stage featuring a unique boss and the true ending. Pick between 4 characters: Crantor the Barbarian, Sias the Valkyrie, Critias the Assassin, or Zaius the Warlock, each with their own unique backstory and special skill set. Abathor is a local co-op game where up to 4 people can play at the same time. I did all 3 of my playthroughs alongside my brother. We each tried out different characters, but I pretty much stuck with Crantor because of his moveset and attack patterns. I had to play with all characters and beat certain bosses with those characters in order to obtain some achievements, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And it's crazy how all the characters feel so different. Crantor is nice because of his sword swing. It can hit enemies in front of him, on top, and behind him as well. And his ability to roll through enemies and projectiles is massive. It is really OP during some boss fights and just traversing the map in general. It is good to note that you can't have 4 barbarians playing at the same time, so your friends will have to pick different characters. Valkyrie can use her shield to block a lot of attacks, and her spear throw ability is probably the most useful out of all the heroes, as it can pierce through multiple ones on screen, and it does a ton of damage. Critias can traverse the map like no other, but his defense is a little low, and Zaius the Warlock has a like Soul Reaper ability, which gives them tremendous power to do a lot of damage. You'll have to give them all a try and just see which stats and abilities lean more to your playstyle. There are 10 total stages in the normal difficulty of the game, each with a different number of sub-stages. So like stage 1 will have 5 sub-stages or missions within the stage as a whole. There are over 50 stages in total in the game, with a bonus stage when you finally are able to play through the game again on bravery to test your true skill. 50 stages might not seem like a ton at first, but some of them take quite a long time. I think our easy playthrough took roughly 8 or 9 hours, then our heroic took like around 6, and then our bravery took like another 9 or so. Not to mention we did a few extra half playthroughs to get the token achievement, which took absolutely forever to unlock. As you complete stages, depending on your difficulty, you'll have a set starting number of tokens. If you run out, you'll have to restart the stage over and complete all these sub-stages again. But don't worry, there are hidden tokens that you can find throughout the map, or you can even buy them in the in-game shop. You collect orichalcum, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a unique material which is the currency you obtain from breaking chests or killing enemies. At certain points in the stage, you'll come across a vendor where you can purchase a variety of upgrades or items like critical hit chance or increased weapon damage or a token or healing potion. There are a ton to choose from, and as you get deeper into a run, you'll have your character feeling really good. I did want to mention that as of right now, if you back out to the main menu, it acts as kind of like an old school arcade, and you lose all of your purchased upgrades. You don't lose progress, and you do get a kind of money stipend when you load up your previous save again, but you'll have to purchase all your stuff again, which a lot of people are kind of on the fence about. I was confused at first about this. It does kind of suck, but I see what they're going for. I just know it doesn't feel too good to find or buy a lot of coins, have to quit out or take a break, and then when you come back, they're just all gone. After you finish the sub-stage, you'll get bonus currency for getting the most kills. If you play co-op, your currency is separate, so you will have to separately buy upgrades. I actually like that it isn't one pot to spend from, kind of like in Enter the Gungeon. Whoever gets the last hit on the boss gets extra kill points, and whoever hits the stone at the end of the stage gets bonus points as well. You'll level your character up to deal with harder enemies and harder platforming as the game goes on. Combat feels extremely good in this game, even though you can't attack down or straight up, but some enemies can. It really makes you plan your attacks from off angles and use your abilities to your advantage. The movement feels super tight and enables you to pull off pixel precision attacks. Your stamina bar is right under your health bar as usual, and your character does a little flash animation to let you know that you can dodge again, which is pretty cool. You have your basic attack, jump, dodge, crouch, special attack, and ability. Each character has their own special attack and a special ability that really set each other apart, and there are pros and cons to each. I found that I barely used my throwing axes with Krantor, but my bro played as Valkyrie, and we used her spears a ton during our playthrough, especially in the later stages. Find chests scattered throughout stages. Some of them contain special abilities like your own personal seahorse that follows you around to help you in combat. There are different jumping heights between the characters as well, and there are upgrades to increase jump height, dash distance, and speed. Platforming combat plays a huge part in this game, both in terms of traversing through stages and battling bosses. If you play 2D side-scrolling platformers all the time, this game will come natural to you after you get the feel of the game. Beating the game on easy is not too bad, but if you're going after all achievements, you're in for a journey. When you get halfway through the game on bravery, things start heating up a little bit. Bosses show smaller windows for damage, they give little windows to recover between attacks, and overall their attacks come faster and are more varied. There are a few bosses that are a waiting game where you have to be patient, waiting for an opportunity to attack. Then, doing minimal damage makes for a long fight. Not to mention, in the later stages, there are multiple bosses during one stage. Dying resets you back to the beginning of the sub-stage, or to the save point crystal. Once you're out of coins, back to the beginning of the stage you go. Some of the platform levels are absolutely brutal, filled with enemies and super Meat Boy-like obstacles, meat grinder saws, vanishing blocks, ranged enemies with heat-seeking attacks make for some frustrating attempts. But when you do succeed, the grind and struggle make the experience that much more worth it. As I look back, I really can't think of any game-breaking bugs that we ran into, even though I know we got frustrated by hitboxes from time to time or the rare instance of frame drops, which happened I think maybe 2 times in our 30 hours with the game. We didn't experience one crash or freeze, and when I played a couple stages on the Steam Deck, everything ran smooth. The devs made a discussion thread saying that Abathor is fully compatible with the Steam Deck, and now they're just waiting on verification for the Steam page, which is awesome to hear. The more Steam Deck compatible games, the better. I test all of my games out on mine, and my bro plays a lot of games on his Steam Deck now if he isn't playing on the PS5. A cool feature that they included is the ability to turn on this CRT style filter to replicate an old school TV, which is pretty cool. I did want to mention a little bit of an outline of the achievements journey in this game. I won't talk about all of them, but I did want to discuss a little bit because they are really what pushed us to keep going and finish all of our playthroughs, plus more. There are 29 total achievements. You get a lot of them by just playing through the game on easy, defeating certain bosses with certain characters, and purchasing all the upgrades for your character. The harder to get ones that really took some grinding and searching were getting 15 credits in one playthrough and revealing the true ending. There is also another achievement tied to the area featuring the true ending, but I won't talk about those in this vid to not spoil anything. But the ending is sick and well worth the journey to get there. The last achievement I unlocked was the 15 credits one, and there wasn't a ton of info out about it and how to unlock it. It sounds simple, but the description is a little misleading. We did an extra playthrough and found 6 coins, bought 9 of them, and the achievement wasn't unlocking. You have to get all 15 coins with the same player, and it still wasn't unlocking. This time we continued on and finally got it, and what we found out is that you have to get 15 plus the credits that you started with, and you have to add more to the total if you die and lose a credit, which was throwing us off a little bit. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, but it unlocked after we played for long enough and for me to find and buy enough credits to give us 15 plus the starting 5 we had at the beginning. It was the last one to unlock, and I'm thankful we finally figured it out. Before we close out this video, let's talk about my thoughts, some positives, and overall impressions on Abathor. I really enjoyed my time with this game. It is a very solid, just good game. I gave it a 10 out of 10 fun rating in my Steam review, and I would even consider this game to be a work of art based on the genre and what kind of game it is, and based on the impression that it left with me as a whole. The experience was great, playing co-op with my brother and battling through stage after stage, boss after boss, until finally being able to see the true ending after a lot of hard work and suffering. I'm a sucker for Greek mythology lore. I love retro-style pixel graphics. The music is to die for. Like, literally, it's so good. I'm a fan of the arcade-style gameplay, and combat with the different characters makes for a killer time. Some of the bosses felt a little gimmicky with their abilities combined with platforming frustrations. At times, hitboxes felt a little off, and it does suck to have to rebuy your abilities after booting the game back up mid-save, but overall these things don't take away from the fun I had with the game. And those aren't things that I think of when I look back on the journey to 100%. If you stuck around till now, thank you for listening. It really means a lot that you wanted to check out my review and experiences with Abathor in the first place. I really love this game, and I can't wait to see what the devs do in the future. PAL Pixel Games did an awesome job. I would love to see a second installment or a whole new title altogether. If you enjoyed this video, a like or subscribe would be awesome. I'm enjoying reviewing all these indie games lately. There are so many good titles that I can barely keep up. All of the important links are down below. I'm not sure what day this review is actually going live, but I'm probably working on the new Star Wars Bounty Hunter game, so be on the lookout for that. And I guess that's it. Have a great week, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.